Boom! Welcome back, everybody, to the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. We are your Omniverse Comics Guide guys. I'm Eric Anthony.
I'm Dave Molyneux.
Right there. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the show again. If you're watching live on Twitch, all our regular guests, thank you for joining us. Hi, Mom. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to rate and subscribe, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on the YouTube. Rate and subscribe. Give us some criticism. Tell us what you like, what you don't like.
Mostly what you like.
For you, and we really appreciate. Yeah, positivity is always upbuilding and helps. But we got thick skin here. We could take it.
Yeah.
So thank you for everybody that has subscribed. Spread the word. Share the show on your podcast platforms, and visit omniversecomics.guide for everything related to this podcast. There's a bunch of stuff that Dave does on that show, on that website. It's incredible how much it's grown in the last. You and Misha, and we've got contributors, but you and Misha have made that thing a 5-year website in 1 year. It's a pretty dope site. So go visit it. Omniversecomics.guide.
Mm-hmm. And those who subscribe, yes. I think we mentioned last week, those who subscribe, there are bonus bits on there, including the full versions of these when they disappear from the Twitches, and also bonus features like Many Armors of Iron Man and What to Read Before blah 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 event and stuff like that. We've got it. We got a ton of all the old podcast episodes from the last 12 months, because we're coming up to exactly 12 months as well. All that stuff is on there. And plus, don't forget to jump on your favorite podcast platform, because there are episodes that are pod only with Mr. Erickson here, who including Omniverse Book Club, interviews, and so on and so forth. So yeah, don't forget to go on there. Don't just follow us on YouTube. Follow us everywhere. Be loyal. Be our loyal lapdogs.
Yeah, and
I don't know what that was. Sorry.
And no, I don't. But as the new year comes around, I think there's going to be some cool things that could happen with the show as far as guests that are going to come on. Also because now I don't have to rush home to take care of my best pal.
Aww.
She's on the Rainbow Bridge. So it allows me to possibly get into the city and interview a couple of folks.
Oh.
The opportunity is there now. So stay tuned.
Wow.
For some cool things that could happen. I'm not making promises, but stay tuned, because they might just be podcast only.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Good reason to check out the podcast.
Yeah, I'll go a little buzz there, because I might know a little bit of what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Stay tuned. Just a little bit. All right, Dave, it is incoming for January 2024. You love these episodes. Dude. I'm always scared of these episodes.
Why are you scared of the episodes, man? It's all good.
Because
I'll be gentle.
No, the reason being is that just when you think that you're done, your collection is like nice and tidy, and then you're like, oh, they've made it that way.
Yeah.
They've made this omnibus, or they've made this collection, and that's a great price. I should just try, like for instance, Wildcats from the Wildstorm line, the Jim Lee line from back in the day. They're doing a compendium, and it was on for a really great price, like more than 50% off.
Yeah, that's
for
nuts.
900 pages or so.
How can you not?
It's just like, I gotta check it out. Yeah, I just to read a collection.
Even if you don't like that part of it, like when it started, the follow-up parts of it, for those who like Alan Moore and Travis Charest and people like, is it Charest? They're on there. Charest. Is it Charest? That's lovely. We'll be on for volume 2. So you can't not have volume 1 when you know you're going to have to get volume 2.
Right. They get you one way or the other, but yeah, it makes you look at things that are going to be coming up in the next couple months.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, I gotta figure out a way to extend the shelves or make this collection fit in the room.
This is going to cost big.
This month wasn't too bad. Yeah.
No, this wasn't
January
too bad.
isn't too bad. It seems like everything's coming out on February 6th. On my end. When I looked on the Amazon list, everything is February 6th.
Yeah, same.
Which happens to be my birthday, so I'm just going to put a bunch of things on the wish list. There's going to be a lot of things you can find. But yeah, it just felt like everything, like January's decent. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll go back and forth, see what we
I'm curious to see what you pick.
Again, some of the stuff we pick are things we already own that we can recommend, things that we have pre-purchased, or maybe things we might blind buy. It varies. So we might have an expert opinion on some of these books,
Maybe.
Or we might be completely ignorant to them.
Yeah, we're ignorant a lot of the time.
Most of the time, very ignorant.
I'm English.
We're just not afraid to admit it. There's a couple obvious ones. I think an obvious one for me, it was an omnibus before. It's already been in an omnibus format, but now it seems like it's been combined with another portion of the series. And what I'm talking about is Thor, J. Michael Straczynski and Kieran Gillen. One of the cool things about it is that it's a cover-to-cover era of Thor. And for someone like myself, I have a bit of an affinity for the character more than I realized I ever would. I've got the entire DeFalco and Friends, the Walt Simonson before that, and then the Dan Jurgens, that whole series, the whole Jason Aaron. I know there's gaps in between, and this is one of them. So for me, it's like,
oh, that's good.
Kind of buttoning up. I haven't been tempted on the Fraction, though, because a lot of people have said it's forgettable. They've never said it sucks, but it's almost like it's kind of forgettable.
I've got that up there as well. What I do have to hand, though, is the original printing of this run. So this was originally a thinner omnibus of just the Straczynski stuff. Right. A bit light on there. And I did think about replacing, because I've got that, and I do have the Gillen run, even though I'm not a big Kieran Gillen fan by any means. But it's a fair size volume. And that together is kind of, it takes you through the kind of post-Civil War, when Thor was kind of dead during Civil War, and then he comes back. And then this takes you past Siege. Well, through Siege. And the other side. So now it's all together and going to be all together in one book.
And then what follows that is Matt Fraction's run?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But at the same time as Matt Fraction's run, it was the Loki Journey into Mystery series with Kieran Gillen, which was actually pretty good. It's still quite pretentious, but it's it's an entertaining read. So if you put them together, it kind of pays off. And I was thinking of doing a Loki and Thor reading order of all of it together, so you can kind of see how they both fit.
Right.
Sure.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
There are fans for that. I would like that. I'm a big, I said, a big fan of the character. I'm not sure why or when it happened, because Thor seems kind of like a one note. Everyone's told a Thor story, kind of like a Hercules, but in the Marvel universe, it's got so much more lore to it because he's included in the Avengers. And then when he does go back to Asgard, that's a whole other type of story you can tell with Thor and those characters. And so this appeals to me. If it's up for the right price, it'll probably be on my shelf at some point.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because I do like the Straczynski stuff.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
And it's quite Coipel, Olivia Coipel.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, really nice art.
Really nice stuff.
Yeah.
So just to have that in the hardcover, I would love the omnibus you have of Straczynski. That would be enough for me. I don't necessarily need the Gillen, but this kind of cover to cover gives you an era, which is nice to have, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Good idea, Marvel. Good idea.
Nice shout. It's a nice shout. And a good choice. I totally missed it when I was going through. That's a really good start to the episode, man. That's a really good choice. That Thor run is really good fun because you also get the pivotal confrontation between him and Iron Man after Iron Man had made a clone of him during Civil War. So, right. Payoff.
And it's a good jumping on point. I mean, there's definitely plenty of things to read before that within the Thor storyline and comics, but this is a good place to start if you wanted to do it in a modern era of the character. Perfectly good place to start.
Yeah.
That's my pick. Shout out to Thor.
Okay. I am equally going to stay in the Marvel Universe, which I realize how rare that is because I don't seem to do that very often. And not only that, this is going to be modern Marvel. When was the last time I suggested a modern Marvel book? I don't know. So this is Devil's Reign.
I don't know.
It's the Chip Zdarsky Daredevil event. Now, they're not actually releasing Zdarsky's Daredevil in Omni format till later. So I think I pre-ordered volume 1 of Zdarsky's Daredevil Omnibus. I'm pretty sure I did anyway. I can't remember now. I'm fairly certain I've got it on my pre-orders, but I think it's going to be 2 volumes. So if you do want to read Devil's Reign as part of that, you might have to wait until you've got the whole set. So it's Devil's Reign 1 to 6, and then all the tie-ins, including The Man Without Fear 1 to 3, all the Devil's Reign miniseries. It's got Spider-Woman 1819, so on and so forth. So it'll be the first Marvel, the big Marvel event that I will have read since Secret Wars, since Hickman's Secret Wars. Because I haven't touched any of the modern stuff.
Do you have FOMO? Is it starting to creep in a little bit?
No. I'm slightly regretting that there's a crossover as part of this thing. I always prefer it when Daredevil isn't part of a crossover. But apparently it's good. So because it's Daredevil, I'll read it. And I'm happy. I'd rather read the whole story because I like having all the crossover bits and knowing what the full story is. But yeah, it's just the nature of this beast, unfortunately. But I'm curious.
Yeah.
Zdarsky hasn't really... I don't dislike anything he's done, but he's still not really won me over in terms of going, I have to read his next book. But I'm hearing good things about Daredevil, and Daredevil's one of the few Marvel characters I want to keep up with. So I've got the Saul Omnibus. Was there another one after that? Or did it then go straight into Zdarsky? I can't even remember.
I think so. Think so.
But I haven't even read the Saul one yet. I've just not had time. So...
yeah.
But he's the only character I want to keep up with from Marvel.
Yeah, I understand that. He's one of the few characters, as well as for me, Spider-Man. I always want to... is Spider-Man good? Is it in a good place? Is it worth reading? But I think just the nature of how cyclical everything became, I just felt like if something is really stand out and it's worthwhile, it'll come around my way and I'll give it a chance. But even the whole Hickman X-Men monumental huge expansion, X-Men are back, after a while it just became, this is too much. This is too much to read. It's a whole other line of comics. It's almost like its own. It took me out of it because of how much of a commitment the hobby had to become to keep up, where I would just much rather prefer to read whole sets or series at a time, and enjoy a story at my pace instead of feeling like I gotta know what happened and don't spoil it for me. And if it's good, it'll come out in a format that I want to. So I'm tempted to do something like Venom by Donny Cates, the Spider-Man universe, and some of the ancillary characters of Spider-Man's universe, because they had even the Carnage stuff. I'm like, why did that get so much?
Yeah.
How did that get any steam? Because Carnage is one of those characters that many creators were like, we liked Venom, but we were sick of him by the time Carnage came around. You hear that often in podcast interviews. So I'm like, how is he getting a second run at this, where they're making a whole event based around Venom and Carnage and King of Black. And so I'm tempted to dig into it because of how expansive it became.
Yeah.
I figure, must be good.
I did the same, but I only made it through 3 issues of Venom, and then I had a tantrum and then just left. Like, I had no patience with Donny Cates at all. I just thought it was just a bit vapid, so I just went like, no, it's not for me. I didn't want to make it through however many issues just to get to an event that I was probably going to feel the same about. So I mean, I might not have done. I might have liked it, but I wasn't willing to hang around. There's plenty of other stuff I'd much rather read than try and force my way through something. I did the same with House of X and Powers of 10. I got into the 3rd issue of that whole where you have to read between the two, and they did the Moira McTaggart thing, and I just went like, that's a shit idea. That's that's lazy writing. Why does everyone think you're a genius? Like, that's crap. So I just, nope, I don't want to read this. So I just left it. I'm not going to waste my time trying to read through shit that I don't like, he says, having just read a load of Bronze Age Superman that made no sense. But I do like that. I do like the Bronze Age Superman.
Everybody in the chat on the live, what did you think of the Moira McTaggart reveal or plot twist, however you want to call it, MacGuffin? What did you guys think of it when it came
Laziness.
out?
What did you think of the sheer laziness of making her a mutant? Incidentally, Omega Bread says that there was a Jed McKay miniseries bridging the gap between Saul and Zdarsky's run that she thinks is called The Death of Daredevil. So, yeah, I didn't even realise. So I'm going to look that up. Yes, Meat Trunks reminded me I've just read Infinity Crusade. I was happier reading Infinity Crusade than I was reading Hickman's X-Men. I think that's quite telling.
Wow. My number 2, I'm going to stick with Daredevil.
Ooh.
In January, you get a Daredevil omnibus that precedes the Zdarsky run and the Soul run, and that is the Mark Waid and Chris Samnee second half, Daredevil Volume 2. That run is, in and of itself, very special. There is a little bit more swashbuckling element to the storytelling.
Yeah.
Not quite as torturing Matt Murdock in every way possible.
Yeah, he is happy being Daredevil. And it's brilliant.
Yes.
It's brilliant. Do you prefer one different. Or two? Do you know?
I think from what I remember, I preferred the first half a little bit more just because there was things that were surprising me. Uh-huh. I enjoyed the second half, but I like him in New York more than San Francisco.
Oh, fair enough.
I think the second one, he's wearing the suit and he's like writing a book about his life.
Yeah.
I remember it, and there was a storyline with the Purple Man. Mm. It was definitely good. And I remember reading the second half first, buying those issues on the shelf as they were coming out, and liking it enough to say, let me go and read what came before this that buttons it up. And I really, really liked it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Waid and Samnee, though, is great stuff.
It's just a great team. I preferred the second volume. I preferred the San Francisco stuff. I thought it was just really good. I love the whole thing with the owl, and it reminds me of some of the earlier Daredevil stuff I read when he was in San Francisco, even though it wasn't particularly great back in the day. But it's almost like, let's try that again, but do it better. And they did. So, yeah.
I am recommending the second half of this series, which completes... I'm recommending the half that Dave prefers because it is really good.
Yeah, really good.
I don't usually do volume 2s or volume 3s, but in this case, we've recommended volume 1, I think, when it was being re-released.
Yes. And
button it up.
We often do final volumes as well, I think. So, and this wraps it up. It's the 2-volume set. And actually, if you really wanted to kind of end your Daredevil, it's a logical ending to the entire saga, really. If you wanted to be.
Yes. It was my ending. I haven't read the Charles Soule or Chip Zdarsky, and not because I haven't heard great things about either.
Yeah.
But I haven't read them yet. Because I'm kind of content with Mark Waid's run.
Yeah. It's really, really satisfying as an ending. It actually gives him a really nice finish. So
send off.
A nice polish.
Yeah. There you go.
Cool. I'm going to take a number 2. And it is, I don't know how to pronounce it. But I'm going to try. So it's Fafford the Grey Mouser Omnibus. Is it Fafford? I
was going to try that one. And I said, I'll leave it for Dave.
Oh, you bastard.
I feel like he would pick this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't not pick it. It's Denny O'Neil, Mike Mignola. Oh, God, I can't see. Walter Simonson's on it as well. Is that? Oh, Howard Chaykin's on it. Chaykin, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'm not a huge fan of him, but everyone else basically on it is like, yeah, okay. And there's a Mignola cover, and I want it. I think those issues originally came out from Epic Comics back in the day, which was a part of Marvel, which was like their version of Vertigo, pre-Vertigo, which I think we mentioned on an episode recently. It's 320 pages, paperback, and it's all those stories together in one book. So it's pretty early Mignola, and I think it was around the time that his style was becoming what it is better known for now, which is roughly the time he also did Wolverine the Jungle Adventure. So you can really see that style take shape in that one shot, which I think was written by Walter Simonson as well. So, you know, these are all big name 80s creators that were all crossing over a lot in the day, and that they all have a love of this. And I don't know much about this legend, this whole story of Fafford the Grey Mouse or her Mouse, or however you pronounce it. I know nothing about it. And I did mean to look it up before we started, and I read the thing of like collected here adaptations of some of the finest tales by Fritz Lieber. of Green Lantern, but I don't know anything about it. Like when I first saw it back in the day in an issue of Marvel Age, and they were announcing it, I remember looking through and going, well, that's not set in the Marvel Universe. Move on, move on. Now I'm going like, ooh, Mike Mignola doing something that's not set in the Marvel Universe. They love their stuff. They love their mythologies, these guys. So I'm curious. I want to go take a look. And it's a fair chunk, 320 pages. So, and as it stands right now, it's due out at the 9th of January. So fingers crossed we get it.
Yeah, I think you'll get it.
Hopefully.
And Dave will probably make a video for it.
I'll make a stupid video and do a stupid voice. Like a tit.
That's cool. Okay. Let's go tit for tat. Number 3. I'm going to veer away from Marvel. My first 2 picks were Marvel. I'm going to go with These Savage Shores from Ram V. I can't think of anything that comes to my head that I've read of his, but the concept of this seemed really fun, really interesting, kind of scary, but again, that pirate swashbuckling storytelling. Let me look it up so I can actually describe it properly because I haven't read it. Was this on your radar at all?
I've read it. Yeah, I read the first version, but I think this is an extended version.
Yes, it's some sort of deluxe edition. So what did you think of it?
I liked it. There was a lot of praise for it when it came out, and that's one of the things where it's difficult when something's really, really hyped and you read it and you go, yeah, it was okay. The art is fantastic on it. I think I've got it.
Looks beautiful.
I've hung on to it because I wanted to try it again when there wasn't as much hype around it. It's
the
nice
description of the book. Oh, sorry, and that American website that sells books that you're not a big fan of, they do have some artwork that you can scroll through and actually see the artwork of the book because it is
they're
it is
good
beautiful
for that at the moment. It is one fine looking book. Yeah.
The East India Company seeks to secure its future along the lucrative Silk Route in the year 1766. Evil now sails aboard a company ship, hoping to make a home in this newfound land, along these savage shores, where the doors are scorched and the nights are full of teeth. But he will soon find that the ground along the Indus is an ancient one, a land teeming with daemons and legends far older than himself. So if I remember correctly, the first time I read it, it is like a Dracula mixed with East Indian mythology.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I think from what I remember, it's quite a mishmash of things, and shamelessly, sews it together quite nicely with all those different. It's an interesting mix. But he's gone on from there to write. If you aren't sure where you've heard his name, you may have read his Batman, Detective Comics, or Swamp Thing. He's also done as well.
Yes, that's where I've heard his name associated with those characters. Yes, that's right. I don't know much about Ram V's actual work to say trusted writer, never disappointed me, but it is one of those books that if you are not a superhero Marvel DC comic book reader, it is a finite story. It is kind of like an art piece that you could put on your shelf. It stands on its own, and it's been given a lot of praise in the artwork, and it looks beautiful. Cool concept. Why not mix it up and get a blend of mythologies?
Yeah,
it's always a fun choice. So
yeah,
I was like, if I see this in a store within the city, why not? I'll give it a read.
Cool,
beautiful looking book.
Yeah,
and of course we judge books by their cover, right?
Yeah,
and this has a pretty cool cover. Stands out. So
yeah, it's
that's
nice.
my number 3.
Vault do some really interesting stuff, so it's a really good shout. I don't think they get quite enough praise. It's quite hard to spot their stuff sometimes. Yeah, some websites that sell books don't make it very easy. But yeah, they're always well worth a look, especially if you like your horror stuff. Just in case I didn't mention it, there was new for subscribers. There is the What to Read Before Legends. Jump on and find out what comics influenced the event Legends, even though it's the first event of the post-crisis DC universe. There are some comics that will really set the scene. And actually, you don't need to read too many, but I've highlighted the stuff that's worth reading. If you wanted to jump back and read some Bronze Age stuff that still counts in the post-crisis age, you can do. So it's a nice mix of stuff to read in there, and plenty of old school Green Lantern core with slightly deranged Guy Gardner. So how can you go wrong? Rebirth of Thanos, the prequel to Infinity Gauntlet. So if you haven't read Infinity Gauntlet and you want to read Infinity Gauntlet, don't miss Rebirth of Thanos, because it sets everything up. And also you can get your top 10 female leads episode of the podcast with our 10 choices for some of the best female-led comics. If you wanted to watch the full episode and you're a subscriber, you can watch the full episode. If you want to watch the edit where I put in lots of little humorous effects, I don't do that. You can do. You're more than welcome. Yes.
Boom, 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 boom. Back to the countdown. Dave, what's your number 3?
Well, thank you for asking, Eric. My number 3 tonight, Matthew, is going to be Harrower from Boom Studios. Now, it's actually dated as October 2023 release, and I would have mentioned it in October had I realised there was such a big gap. So for some reason, Boom Studios books come out in this country about 2 months after they come out in America. And there's me going, like, me emailing these companies being that annoying customer. Where's my book? I want the book. I know it's out. I've seen it. I've seen videos of it. I've seen it in the wild. It's because we just don't get it here yet. It takes ages for some reason. And I can't understand why in the modern age, but there we go. Never mind. I'm happy to wait if it's good stuff. So Harrower is a horror series from Justin Jordan, who I've not read anything from. The art on it is by Bram Revel, who did one of my favourite books of all time, which is Gorillas. Oh, look at the beef. Look at the beef. Look at the beef on that. Touch it. Smell it. Taste it. So sweet. It makes no difference if it knocks you off your seat. What's the line? I can't remember. That's probably a copyright infringement. Anyway, I love his art, and he's doing this horror series. I'm not a massive horror person, as we talked about over Halloween, but I love his stuff. So it's 4 issues. I think it's an ongoing, so it's volume 1. It's a slasher horror thing, and I don't frankly care about anything other than that. But I'll read a little bit of the overview. So it's a brand new small town horror series from the writer of The Strange Talent of Luther Strode, which I did quite like. There's nothing to fear in the quaint town of Barlow, New York, except that is for the Harrower. The children wish the boogeyman was just an urban legend, but this purveyor of puritanical vengeance is very real, and there's no escape. It goes on. It's quite a long intro. I'm not going to read all of it, but that for me is enough. So the writer of Luther Strode and the artist of Gorillas, like, spring it. Thanks. A nice 4-issue hit of some dark, nasty goodness. I'll take it. Thanks very much. Pop it in a bag. I'm out of here.
Nice. My number 4 is a series that I've never read. It's been out for a long time. They've adapted it to a television show. You've even recommended it, said it was really good. And it's an Image Compendium, Deadly Class. Never read it. But I am a Rick Remender fan. I've heard numerous times from people who aren't Rick Remender fans, give this one a try, because it'll surprise you. And I've never tried it yet. I didn't know which way to collect it. Should I start with the little skinny trades? Wait for the hardcovers? You never know which way to go about it with Image, or if it's going to gain that steam to still exist, right? Anyways, this is a perfectly good reason now for me to jump on and give this book a go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put it on my list. I've heard nothing but good things about it from people like yourself who've read it.
I mean, the thing is, I think any writer has moments or blips, but Rick Remender tends to be, for me, either great or like, what the Rick? Come on. So there's never like that was an average Rick Remender book. It either really, really resonates, or it's just like, I don't know. No, I can't even finish this, which is really weird. You know, there's such a desperate response. Deadly Class, I've got the 4 deluxe hardcover volumes. I've read volume 1. I wanted to wait till all 4 came out. Number 4 came out earlier this year, I think. I just haven't had a chance to read it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, but volume 1, I gave 5 stars.
Wow.
Yeah, I really rate it. And like, if you like your 80s comics, so it's set in the 80s, but it also feels like a really 80s book. You can see that kind of David Mazzucchelli influence in Wes Craig's art. But I really like his stuff. So I've bought books on the strength of him. So he did one called Kaya this year, and there's volume 2 coming out soon. I love his art. I liked his stuff on Guardians of the Galaxy as well. A couple of other books. I can't think what they are, but yeah, he does a fine job. It's very well observed. Like the art style is just, it's perfect for what they're trying to do. So yeah, highly recommend it. It's a really, really good call. I totally missed that was coming out. I did a fairly thorough search, but it's really hard to get a good list. However, we will be having the lists available on the website over the next couple of weeks. You'll be able to find them. It'll be what's coming out from Image, Dark Horse, Marvel and DC, the indie books, etc., through the course of January. They're currently being worked on. So if you do want to hear, you do want to see everything that's coming out and not just listen to us waffle on about what we think is going to be great, do both. You just do both. But you can do that. So they'll be coming out soon as well.
Sweet. You're number 4, my friend.
Oh, dude, my number 4. I'm going old school, and it's my second Marvel choice of the night.
I want to hear it. Yes.
It's what most people are going to refer to as the Romnibus.
Ooh.
It's the Rom Omnibus. The original Year's Omnibus, Volume 1. I used to own the original issues. I got a whole stack of like 1 to 75 with a few gaps. So, and they are cheeseball, but God, I can't pass this up. Every time I pass up one of these ones where they get the license, apart from Conan, screw that but this time around, like I missed out on Master of Kung Fu. Amen is bangs. I missed out on Master of Kung Fu. I'm not missing out on this because like they won't hold this license for long. Once they've produced the 3 volumes, and they should have produced it as 2. There is no reason why they couldn't produce it as 2. But they've broken it up into 3 with quite a high markup, not going to lie. So prepare yourself to be gouged. But grab it. If you're an old school 80s Marvel fan, even if you think like, yeah, but it was a toy-based title, like how pivotal was it to the Marvel Universe? It does play quite a big part. Especially the Wraith War, which is largely going to be featured in Volume 3. You can see the effects of the Wraith War in issues of Uncanny X-Men, issues of Avengers. It does impact. And also you see a little bit of what happens, in this again will probably be Volume 3, of what happens in the Marvel Universe while the heroes are away during the first Secret Wars. So it does play a bit of a pivotal role. It might be a bit cheesy, and some of it's kind of nasty. It's like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers type thing. And Rom is pretty ruthless. At first, he's just going around killing people he is registering as dire wraiths, and people are going, what are you doing? You're murdering everyone. There's one issue where and this will be in Volume 1, there's one issue where he's murdering people in Harlem, and it's because they're dire wraiths. But people are going, there's like a racist robot rampaging around, what great alliteration, around Harlem. So then Power Man and Iron Fist get involved. And it's pure, joyous old schoolness. So it's, just to confirm what's in it, it is ROM numbers 1 to 29 and Power Man and Iron Fist number 73. So there's that ROM Power Man and Iron Fist crossover that I was just talking about, but you'll also get a storyline where Galactus goes to his home planet and he has to try and stop Galactus eating his home world. So it's entrenched in the Marvel Universe.
Comics.
It's comics, man.
Right.
Galactus has only got a small postcode that he'll eat from. In the cosmos. A cosmic postcode. Or zip code, sorry. International codage.
It's a real shame that they've done this in 3 volumes, though. That I will say is a thumbs down to Marvel.
Same. Well, it's what put me off Master of Kung Fu. I got through 2 volumes, and then Volume 3 came out, and I'm looking at the price going, that's not a good price for what you're getting compared to other Omnis. But you have no choice. If this is what you want, and then they'll probably do 2 epic collections, not finish it, and then they'll lose the license, which is what happened with Master of Kung Fu.
Those Master of Kung Fu's, are those the Shang-Chi omnibus?
Yeah, so with 4 volumes of that, and that could have been 3.
Yeah, I have 3 of those. I need the 4th. And I found them for a steal. Like, I wasn't really interested in them, but they were on a big discount. And all 3 of them, and I just said, might as well.
Yeah.
Because they're hard to come by.
Yeah.
And it was during the the Shang-Chi movie release and the hype. And so it was something that I felt like reading. I haven't read them yet. Sometimes I wonder why I bought them, because I haven't read them yet. But it was kind of one of those impulse buys to say you could get a big chunk of this. Yeah, I saw like you said, the cover price is like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very high.
It's not a 600-page book that they have priced at something that has double that. It's a little, I don't like when they do that.
It feels,
but again,
it
I
feels
think it's
wrong.
the license, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, if they're going to do the character, we shouldn't pay for the light. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I get it to a point, but you're buying a book. A book is a book. Don't do this. It's not like it's got gold foil. Oh, that would be nice. They could do like a silver foil cover for this, for Rom. Ooh. They won't.
They might.
Maybe.
David Gabriel, if you're listening.
David Gabriel's not listening. Just to confirm a couple of bits in the chat and we will jump back on. Yes, Misha does the releases, the new releases pages. I don't have time. But yeah, she works on those and it takes fucking ages. So yes, you have Misha to thank for those. BC Scrubs said when they're price gouging, it's so frustrating because, like, he's right, it has to impact sales. It must do. But maybe, I don't know. I don't get why. I do get why they do it, but I don't. It's a really weird thing, and it's what's happening.
There's got to be a balance. That's the thing. Is you see it when it happens, and you're like, that's not a $160 book. That is an $85 book. And if you want to cash in on the fact that it's a temporary license, put it at $100. People will get it for that price. To make it a 1,200-page price, it's discouraging.
It is.
But I'm happy that you're excited for Rom. I don't want to take away from your excitement for this book.
And it won't. The thing is, like, they're doing the same with Micronauts, and I've literally just having a look at that as we speak, and it looks like that's going to be 3 volumes. And it doesn't really need to be 3 volumes. I mean, it's up to people what they feel is worth. But come on, absorb the cost. You buy a license, you deal with the issues of buying the license. But hey, that's just my take.
Yeah. But hey, like, let the fans speak out, right?
Yeah.
You're mentioning it. BC Scrubs is mentioning it.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that the impact of it could be that the omnibus might not last forever, which some people will actually be weirdly happy about. It's like, what if you're not buying them? Why are you happy about it? Never mind. But hey, I mean, maybe that's where the compendium is the future. We'll see.
True.
We'll see.
True. We're at my number 5 already.
Jeez, dude.
I'm gonna piggyback on some of that same era Marvel good stuff. 3 Marvel Omnis for me. I'm going to go with the Iron Fist, early years. I don't know if that was on your list as well, but I like that series of Claremont and Byrne. I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago in I don't know what episode that it was. I remember bringing it up.
It has come up.
Anyway, it could have been in a John Byrne. Could have been in a John Byrne episode.
John Byrne episode. Yeah, you're right.
Regardless, this collects everything revolving around the character of Iron Fist, whether it was in the 16-issue series that was Claremont and Byrne on that run that I think crisscrosses with X-Men at some point, and of course he's a teammate eventually. I don't know if it was at the same time or just after this series with Power Man, and you just mentioned that they crisscross with the ROM.
Yeah.
So all this stuff that's taking place in that era during the Kung Fu craze of the 70s, a lot of those Marvel writers and artists were really into that whole Kung Fu scene. Steve Mitchell, who Dave hooked me up with, we've done a couple of episodes with Steve Mitchell on the Cave of Solitude.
Yeah.
But he talks about going to watch Kung Fu flicks with Frank Miller on a Friday afternoon. That was just a regular thing they did. And Denny O'Neil was, I think it was Denny O'Neil or one of those creators were just all into the Kung Fu scene. And it was so present in the stuff that they were making. Shang-Chi, you've got this. I know I'm missing a couple things, but regardless, I think this is a cool collection. If you don't have it in another format yet and you want to kind of dip your toe into the Iron Fist world, this is fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's that original Danny Rand stories. It does the Matt Fraction, Ed Brubaker stuff that is more modern is great, but it's got to come from somewhere, right? And this is a pretty sweet spot, I feel.
It was. You might have seen it before in Epic. So they did an Epic collection of Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And then they did a black and white chunky one of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu with Iron Fist.
That's right.
And this is basically both together. So it takes place There it is. There it is. This is actually... Oh, no, did you just catch it? Oh, bollocks. Clags, man.
Big bollocks. It's okay. It's a book. It's replaceable.
Oh,
Goodbye.
in theory. It's replaceable with this omnibus.
Oops. Yes, that's right.
Let's try and look on it that way. You're right. It's actually, funny enough, this is the first John Byrne Marvel series. This is where he started, apparently. It was on Comic Tropes recently. He made... Chris Claremont saw his stuff on a Charlton series, E-Man, I think it was. And then he got them to hire John Byrne to do the art on this, I think to replace whoever the artist was originally. But yes, so this all takes place before Power Man and Iron Fist, the series. So his series, Iron Fist, essentially gets cancelled after doing an X-Men issue and introducing Sabretooth. And then because then it goes into a Marvel team-up, 2 parts of that technically counts as a crossover. And then Byrne and Claremont do Power Man and Iron Fist 48 to 50. Or Power Man 48 and 49, and then Power Man and Iron Fist number 50, and that's the story that kind of brings them together as a team. Yeah, I'm hoping they'll do a Power Man and Iron Fist omnibus at some point. I'd really like to get. Yeah.
I like some of those stories.
Yeah, me too.
I have a couple of those epic collections. I'm not sure what it is that it's a sweet spot.
Yeah, it's Christopher Priest, a lot of it as well. Or at least a good chunk of it is Christopher Priest when he was Jim Owsley.
That's later on, right?
It's towards the end.
That's after Kurt Busiek. Yeah, okay.
Oh, shit. But there's a lot of early Sabretooth in those. So, like, all in all, you're getting some really early appearances by some major characters. And also you're getting some of the weird characters they used to fight with and against, like El Aguila and stuff.
Yeah, Bronze Age Marvel, it's grown on me a lot. Having been introduced to Marvel later in my comic fandom. But I just love all that silly 70s stuff that kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit.
Yeah.
There's some cool ideas that have come back around that you revisit and you're like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Iron Fist is one of them for me. I enjoy Power Man and Iron Fist.
And
it's
great.
ridiculous.
It's John Byrne. Some of that's John Byrne on that. And you get Kerry Gamble on the Power Man and Iron Fist book. And there's some great creators on it. So, yeah, from back in the day when they were first starting out.
Yeah, for sure. Early Kurt Busiek on Power Man and Iron Fist.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Joe Duffy, that was the writer. Joe Duffy.
Oh, that sounds right, yeah.
Kerry Gamble, Dennis Cowan.
Oh, yeah.
Trevor Von Eden. Yeah, good stuff.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring it back to a little bit of randomness. My last choice for the night is 480-page trade paperback. This is Wild's End, Book 1, from Boom Studios again. It collects Wild's End First Light, Wild's End The Enemy Within, and Wild's End Journey's End. But it's a mishmash of The Wind in the Willows, which I've never really been a fan of. My mum used to try and make me watch it as a kid. How does the frog know how to wear clothes? Weird. So it's Wind in the Willows meets War of the Worlds. It's weird. I find it very weird. So it's Wind in the Willows meets War of the Worlds. So this alien invasion, and then it's up to the Wind in the Willows nature characters to save Earth, I guess, from aliens. I don't want to know too much about it. I want to go in pretty blind. But the art is by Ian J. Culbert, who I don't really know that well, but it's written by Dan Abnett. Dan Abnett, who people know from Annihilation, or mostly Annihilation Conquest, actually. Guardians of the Galaxy, Nova, stuff like that. The big cosmic stuff.
War of Kings. I'm reading that right now.
And a ton of...
I'm reading the Nova.
It's great stuff. It's
fun.
Yeah, I love that. Love that era. But he's done plenty of stuff for DC as well. But yeah, so it's Dan Abnett on a strange... Like, where did this idea come from? Crossover type book between those two big, very like British concepts, and it's 480 pages. I think it's still going as well, which hence book 1. But it just looks like a nice read, and like such an odd idea. So I'm in. It's weird. I'm sold. Gimme.
Why not? Do it.
Start the year on something bizarre. I
didn't have it on my radar. Finding those off the beaten path stuff that You Didn't Know You Always Wanted. Now I got my eye on Sigil. I know I mentioned it in the last episode, but now I really want to read that. And that's what this kind of sounds like. One of those books where I never knew I always wanted this.
Yeah.
Let's have it.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, I get the feeling.
Uh-huh. Oh, BC Scrub said, Wind in the Willows always freaked me out as a kid. Me too. I don't know, but why? Is it because they were animals in clothes? Sorry, I'll get obsessed with this. We'll talk about it in the Discord. That's right. Join us for chat about animals wearing clothes in our Discord channel.
That's right. And as we wrap this up, always remember, everybody, be sure to visit the omniversecomics.guide for all of our episodes, all of our reading orders, but also the previous incomings, because just because they've already been released, still worthwhile to check out some of our recommendations that are worth picking up that are currently on the shelves. So if you're looking for something off the beaten path to read that may not have been included in the top 10, plenty of reading recommendations that you can find on those old incoming episodes. So check those out. All at omniversecomics.guide. Dave, we did it again.
We did. Oops.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Everybody on the Twitch, everybody tuning in on YouTube or your podcast provider, thank you so much. We love you. Stay tuned for more podcasts.
Bye. Peace out, y'alls. Bye.